Good evening, viewers. Today we are looking at argument that Ngozi Orabueze wasn't the one who declared Biafra. The argument that Ngozi Orabueze was not the one who declared Biafra centers on the historical context and the actual events surrounding the recent declaration of Biafra's restoration. Historical context: the original declaration of Biafra's independence occurred on May 30, 1967, led by Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, the then military governor of the eastern region of Nigeria. This declaration was a response to widespread violence against the Igbo people and was formalized through a consultative assembly. Recent developments: in November 2024, a new declaration was made by the Biafra Republic Government in Exile, BRGIE, during a convention in Lodi, Finland. This event was organized by Simon Ekpa, who had been detained just days prior. Orabueze served as his deputy and was present during this declaration, which took place on November 29, 2024, 3-4. However, it is crucial to note that Ekpa had initially planned to declare Biafra's restoration on December 2, 2024, indicating that Orabueze's role was more of a successor acting in Ekpa's absence rather than the primary declarer of independence. Claims of legitimacy: Orabueze's involvement has been contested, with some factions questioning her legitimacy and labeling the recent Biafran efforts as Biafraud, suggesting that those declaring independence may not represent the true aspirations of the Biafran people. 4. Additionally, Ekpa has claimed that only he and his government have the legitimate right to call for a Biafran declaration, further complicating Orabueze's position. What was the role of Ngozi Orabueze in the Biafran movement? Ngozi Orabueze has played a significant role in the contemporary Biafran movement, particularly as a leader within the United States of Biafra, USB, and the Biafra Republic Government in Exile. Her involvement has been marked by several key actions and positions. Leadership transition: following Simon Ekpa's legal challenges, Orabueze was appointed as the acting Deputy Prime Minister of the USB. Her previous role as Chief of Staff positioned her to ensure continuity and stability in leadership during a critical time for the Biafran independence struggle. Declaration of Biafra: on November 30, 2024, Orabueze redeclared the United States of Biafra from Finland amid Ekpa's incarceration. This declaration was part of a broader effort to rally support for Biafran independence and was seen as a symbolic act aimed at reigniting the movement. 2-3. During this event, she proclaimed the establishment of Biafra's own currency and time zone, emphasizing the movement's aspirations for self-determination. Advocacy and representation: Orabueze has actively represented Biafran interests on international platforms, advocating for recognition and support for the Biafran cause. Her background in healthcare and her diplomatic engagements have positioned her as a competent figure to influence international perceptions positively. Challenges to legitimacy: despite her prominent role, Orabueze's leadership has faced criticism from factions within the broader Biafran movement, particularly from the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, which distanced itself from her declaration. IPOB emphasized that any legitimate movement towards independence should originate from its established leadership. Advocacy and representation: Orabueze has actively represented Biafran interests on international platforms, advocating for recognition and support for the Biafran cause. Her background in healthcare and her diplomatic engagements have positioned her as a competent figure to influence international perceptions positively. Challenges to legitimacy: despite her prominent role, Orabueze's leadership has faced criticism from factions within the broader Biafran movement, particularly from the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, which distanced itself from her declaration. IPOB emphasized that any legitimate movement towards independence should originate from its established leadership.